Hello from Pearson International Airport, leaving Toronto. Not by boat, though. We're going to France to shoot something with our friends in Le Boat on the Canal du Midi. But this is the perfect segue for another time I left Toronto by boat on that little pocket cruiser on what would be a 750 nautical mile, 12-day journey to Manhattan. Here's how that started. Step one is to prep your vessel. When I picked up the pocket cruiser from the turquoise waters of the St. Clair River, it didn't have any bottom paint, also known as anti-fouling paint. Now that prevents organisms from attaching or growing to the hull, which impacts your efficiency. At the same time I had that put on, I had it professionally waxed and buffed to bring the shine back. Not bad for a 1994. You also want to make sure your propeller is in good shape. Mine had some chips and dings, so I opted to put a brand new one on before splashing it. Then it was time to clean the old girl up and check out all the other systems, including the lighting. Now, one of these lights work, but this one doesn't, and you need both, especially since I plan on anchoring out on this journey. In this case, it's immediately obvious that the bulb is the problem, since it's corroded and falling apart. Providing it's just a bulb, it's a simple enough fix. The easiest way to do this is to take the old bulb into your marine supply store and make sure you get the exact right one, if possible. Replace it with a new bulb, and then it's on to the safety gear, including flares. But what kind? Once again, here with my friend Sergeant Dave Moffat.
Back again.
OPP Marine Unit. More questions for you, sir. This time, flares.
Yes.
So, beautiful day here on Lake Couchiching. We're not going to need one, but there's a few different types. I want you to explain them. I'll pass them to you. You tell me what they are, because I've never fired one.
Okay.
So,
perfect.
Number one, we have the illuminating parachute rocket.
That's right. So this is probably one of the preferred flares for nighttime. Okay. It's a single flare. It's a single star that shoots up to 300 meters, and a parachute opens up and it glows for 45 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so wherever you are on a lake, very, very good. Anyone on the shore can see you. Search and rescue aircraft can see you. Really, really good product.
Okay. Then we've got this pistol style one with a cartridge.
So this is our Type B flare, or a multi-star flare. So what these do is you have a cartridge that you put in. There's 2 stars in here, or it could be 1 star, but it's supposed to be 2 stars. You shoot it up, 2 stars go up. They're always red. And this goes up 100 meters.
Okay.
Okay, so a little different, but the 2 stars. Now, if you shoot a cartridge that only has one star, then you're required to shoot another cartridge with another star within 45 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
This looks like the kind of thing I've seen at like European football matches.
Right.
They're firing off.
Yeah. So this is a handheld flare.
Yeah.
Important thing to remember that you always, if you're gonna strike it, and basically it's just a flame that comes out, strike it downwind. Okay, so, or make sure that the flame goes downwind, so you're upwind, basically. And you strike it, you hold it out at about 45 degrees, and you hold it there. Good for nights, good for if you see a search and rescue aircraft coming over your boat, then you strike it then and you wave it, and you can see, and hopefully you'll get the attention. Not good for people on the shore to see what you're doing.
Right, and you probably want to hold it over the water like you're doing, because it'll be dropping and melting.
I think your gel coat on your boat is the last thing you're thinking about at that time, but you're right.
That's true. And then this one, this yellow can.
This is your Type D. This is something for daytime. It's for people on the shore can't really see it, but you strike it, you're upwind, you throw it downwind, this thing floats in the water. So basically take off the cap, you yank on this ignites, and you throw it downwind. You just throw it into the water, and it will emit a orange smoke so that search and rescue craft can see you. The one important thing to remember is that you are required to carry pyrotechnics on board your vessel at a certain size. So if you're not familiar with what you need, make sure you look at the Safe Boating Guide that Transport Canada gives you, and it will tell you exactly what you need. But the most important thing is these expire after 4 years from manufacture date. So somewhere on this, it will have a date, and you have 4 years from that date to have it on board. If it is expired, it's useless. So then you'll have to go purchase some more.
And having an expired flare on your vessel is the same as having no flare.
Right, which sometimes doesn't make a lot of sense. We're just trying to make sure that we have flares that will work.
And once again, do not fire off your expired flares for fun, because as lovely as Sergeant Moffat is right now, he will not be happy, I'm guessing,
Nope.
if you show up for one of those.
Nope, you know, when we come out at 2 in the morning and we find you out in the middle of the lake having fun with flares, it will be a charge, definite.
Beautiful. All right. See? Safe again.
I see. Well, I'm trying my best, right? Trying my best, trying to educate the public.
I love it. See you on the water.
In the crowd, show them how you feeling now.
Heading out on day one, say goodbye to the skyline of Toronto and past the first, but certainly not last, freighter I'll see on this journey as I head out the eastern gap of Toronto Harbor. From here, it's about a 60 nautical mile run eastwards along the north shore of Lake Ontario to Cobourg. And I absolutely love this. So the breakwalls for Cobourg Marina, it has a lighthouse on it still. And I know that they're not manned anymore, and the few that exist are remotely operated. And you might say, everyone has GPS, everyone has charts, all that fun stuff. So what do you need those flashing lights for? You're a few miles out in the lake, you need something to spot. And all due respect to Lake Ontario shoreline, but an awful lot of it looks the same. Using that lighthouse to find the marina entrance, you'll find a well-protected harbor when you enter. Cobourg is a town of about 20,000 people and has an amazing sandy beach, a well-kept marina, and even free tools to tweak your bike if you want to go explore. Day 2. Leaving Cobourg Marina. Beautiful town. I will not accuse it of beautiful weather this morning. But check the marine forecast, check the radar, check multiple weather forecasts, actually. All looks good. A little lumpy from the wind yesterday, but away we go. If you've ever wondered what "did I forget to bring the fenders in" looks like in slow motion, well, it looks exactly like this. And if you have a camera going, you can see the exact moment your fender breaks free and tries to start a new life. Then it's a struggle to rescue a runaway fender and salvage your pride. Swing and a miss. Take 2. Victory! Fenders and pride restored to departure levels, I can continue east for about 68 nautical miles through the Bay of Quinte to Picton. You could stay on the outside and get a view of the massive sandbanks on the southwest shore of Prince Edward County, but I want to get out of these waves and take the sheltered route. Because even though the boat can handle this no problem, there's only so much my body is willing to take. Rounding the Presqu'île Point Lighthouse, told you they were handy. The Bimini decides it's had enough. And while I do some classy and sassy bungee repairs, let's focus on the backdrop here to highlight some nautical terms that will be handy, especially when anchoring. Leeward and windward. Now, leeward is the sheltered side, and that is dramatically evident here. That's where you want to anchor if possible. We're out of the big lake, we're out of the big chop, and we are about to enter the Murray Canal. It is notably unnotable in terms of scenery. I mean, trees, nature, all that kind of stuff, but it is a straight ditch cut through about 8 kilometers long or 5 miles, and it just is a straight shot. On the other side of this is Trenton, where there's an Air Force base. So sometimes you luck out and can see some really cool stuff. Just, you have to look up a little bit. And there are 2 swing bridges. Tyler, what's the clearance? We're just approaching the bridge from the west.
We're right around just over 10.5 feet right now, not quite 11. Over.
Okay. That should be enough room. I'll lower my radio antenna and I can probably get underneath then, if that's all right, or do you prefer to open if it's looking close?
That's totally up to you. If I do have to swing you through, it is $5.25. So I can go down and make sure you can go under before you actually go under if you'd like.
Oh, if you'd be able to do that, that would be fantastic. I'll lower the radio antenna right now. Over. It was first proposed in the late 1700s, but construction began in 1882 and it opened in 1889, linking the Bay of Quinte, where we're headed to, with Lake Ontario via Presqu'île Bay, which we just came through. Up until 1959, this was actually heavily used for commercial traffic, but in 59, that's when the St. Lawrence Seaway opened, and now it's almost exclusively used by recreational boaters.
In the crowd, show them how you feeling now.
What a lovely day on the bay. Welcome to the Bay of Quinte. Not the best first impression, admittedly. The most useless wiper in the history of wipers. You see blue sky. All right. Looks like the rain has burned off onto Picton. Got all the fenders in this time. I'm working on different systems for single-hand boating. Anticipation may be one of the most important things when you're doing any sort of boating, anywhere. But you also have to be able to go with the flow, because I hope you're sitting down for this. Meteorologists have been wrong before. I know, but it's true. So even though the forecast may be good, you might get rained on coming out of the Murray Canal, coming into Trenton to get gas. I'm just saying, hypothetically. Then again, hypothetically speaking, you could get rewarded with a beauty evening cruise and end up racing the sunset to Picton, where we put a pin in day 2. Okay, farewell Picton. Day 3. Eastward, out of the Bay of Quinte. We're gonna go past Kingston, Ontario. Seems to be a bit of a south wind, so that bit of an open stretch around Kingston might be a little bumpy. We'll be all right. And then we're gonna stick to the north shore and go through what's called the Bateau Channel as we enter the Thousand Islands. The hopeful destination today, Rockport. After yesterday's adventure of having to use bungee cords to secure this rickety bimini top setup, I think what I might do is get out into this open area a wee ways here and drop the top. As much as that goes against everything that a ginger believes in the summer of eliminating shade, but I'd rather have no shade for the run than no shade at all ever, because this thing's torn and blown off. Let's do this thing. Keep an eye out for the ferry that runs between Glenora and Adolphustown. It's big and hard to miss, but there's lots to look at, especially on days where they're giving away so much sailboat fuel for free. Kingston's a great stop, with Confederation Basin right downtown, but I don't have time for that today. From here, you're into the Thousand Islands, with the tour boats, yacht clubs, beautiful homes, private islands. And here is where boating can get really fun. But just after all that excitement, just past the Thousand Islands International Bridge, you'll see something only visible by boat. On the north shore of the river is a statue of its namesake, St. Lawrence. And just past here, Rockport. Solo docking mode engaged, and a stop for fuel, supplies, and a study at the lack of a swim platform. That's gotta be fixed. Admittedly, the solo undocking is noticeably less graceful than the solo docking, but effective nonetheless. Fender. All right. Leg 4, a short 17 nautical mile hop from Rockport here in the Thousand Islands to Brockville, where, with a little help from a fellow boater and a lot of help from the wind, I managed to dock safe and sound and get her all battened down before a storm hit. As long as it gets it out of its system tonight, I'm okay, because I have backup coming in the morning. Leg number 5, big day. Now, I know a lot of this has been solo, and that's supposed to be the idea, but we are going to be heading through the St. Lawrence Seaway locks, and they require a minimum of 2 people. So I brought out the big guns. Gramps, former charter captain on the Great Lakes, and boating longer than I've been alive. We're gonna have a good day. Beauty day, but a long one. So, pitter patter. Oh, and there's a freighter on our tail. "22 miles down the river, you come upon the Iroquois Lock, the first of 5 you'll need to go through to get from Lake Ontario to the west side of Montreal. Just tie up at the pleasure craft dock and wait for instructions. The Canadian locks have set schedules, and you need to reserve your lockage in advance. This one, though, the Iroquois Lock, is a tiny one, so you don't even tie up, you just kind of float in the middle. Another 22 miles downriver, and you're at the 2 U.S. locks in New York, the Eisenhower and the Snell. These you can pay in cash at the lock, and they are not on set schedules. But that means that it can be a bit of a wait. After a 4-hour wait, we are through the Dwight D. Eisenhower lock and heading to the Snell lock. Of course, you have to have 2 people on board, so I recruited my father-in-law. Say hi, Gramps.
Hi, Gramps.
Nailed it. Yeah, 4-hour wait. Nothing you can do. The U.S. ones don't have scheduled lockages. You show up, and you're at the mercy of the freighter traffic. But that's what the Seaway was made for. Just plan that into your day. This is not something that you can anticipate and guarantee when you're going to go through. For example, we had hoped to get through another set of locks after this one, but turns out we're staying the night in Valleyfield, Quebec. Allez les Expos! That's about all I got. Je suis en pamplemousse. À la prochaine. 33 miles east of the Snell Lock, and you'll find the marina, with multiple restaurants within walking distance. Next morning, a mini flotilla is waiting at the first of 2 lift bridges, before we make it to and through the 2 Beauharnois locks. Good morning from Valleyfield, Quebec. I think officially it's Salaberry de Valleyfield. Je m'excuse. The original plan, continue right on to Montreal. However, as much as I'm loving this 1994 pocket cruiser, there are some things that need a little bit of attention before I continue this journey all the way to New York City. So instead of continuing straight along and kind of veering to starboard, we're gonna do a hard turn to port and head up the Ottawa River a little ways to the town of Oka. I'll explain why when we get there. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Seaway locks here and on the Welland Canal are not something I'd want to deal with every day. For one, you're second fiddle to the freighter traffic and it can be long and boring waits. But as my wife always says, this is the adventure in adventure tourism. And experiencing it at least once as a boater should be on everyone's bucket list. Oh, and to keep with that barely beating the rain theme that seemed to evolve during this part of the trip, we started hearing weather warnings as we got through that last lock and made it to Oka just before this came down. Next week, all right, here's me helping. Some much needed upgrades before we continue to Manhattan. Installed. That was an adventure. Rain, oh good, more rain clouds. Think, well, the boat is what it is. That's too loud, I'll say that when I'm doing the swim platform. Here, start a new one. And right on cue, sunshine. Nailed it. You don't have to have $1 million budget to have $1 million experiences and $1 million views. And that's about all the millions I can say, because I feel like I have 1 million miles to go. Rockville. All right, boat hair, don't care.